Hi, everybody. It is November 7, 2024. Another day in the New World Order. Yes, the New World Order. Well, I see a lot of people saying it's coming. It started a long time ago. They're working out the details. It's here. Anybody else agree or disagree? Leave a comment in the chat. Hello, Alicia, Geofactor 3, Tony Punch, hi. I think the days of doing well are over for an awful lot of us. And that's too bad, but that's what's happened. Sandra, hello, Bluesman, hi. Rage Against the Machine. And Max Maximus, hi. Oh, wow. Very cool. You adopted a cat. He lost his way. But he's now got food, water, and a dry, warm place to sleep. Cool. Very cool. Very cool. Shauna Howard, hello. It gets so dark and lonely living off a 12-volt battery in a travel trailer, waking each day in a war zone. War. Not sure. Did you mean war, W-A-R? Or just like a worn zone? Taxing to say the least. When life upends, it is very taxing, very difficult. Suddenly, you're having to adjust to a whole new way of living that was not your choice. It's very hard. Barb in Ohio, hello. Ezra, hello. Stack Stevenson, hey. Putin congrats Trump, saying the New World Order is in the works. Yeah, it sure is in the works. Ezra, hi. And let's see who else. Don Miguel, Eric, Silent Walk, Oracle 11, hi. Brian C., Chen Man, Devin Williams, hi. Amber Eyes, Patricia White, Julie, hi, everybody. I really do hope that you're all doing okay. Let me see if I can find Max's GoFundMe. I know that I bookmarked it, but can I remember which file? I think. Oh boy. No. My brain is just mush these days. I apologize. And okay, I'm not sure where it is. And I apologize to Max, but hopefully if somebody comes in the chat that has the GoFundMe, I'd appreciate you telling us where it is. And Lori, hi, Analog Synth Player. So, not quite sure, the person who left Hurting Humanity, what your channel name is, but hey, hi. All right, Jake M, hi. If anybody wants to go over to Max Maximus, that channel, Max Maximus 3, you can find his there. I wasn't able to find a link though, Max. You wrote it out, but it's easier for people to just click on a link. So, Geo Factor 3, I know. My God, I wish there was a way to help everybody. All right. Do know that if you donate to me, I donate to others through your donations. And that's the only way that I can help people. So, and Geo Factor 3, I know that you're having a really hard time. Christopher James, hello. They won't let you link to your GoFundMe. All right, so we're going to look at radar because something very unusual is happening. I showed you last night because it was happening last night, and it is now happening again. This little blip right here, and I took a capture of it earlier, seems to be fading a bit right here from Nevada to California. And it does seem the fires are just north of this. But really, what the hell is that? Okay. So I showed you last night, and I was remarking at this incredible speed. This is not precipitation. I don't know what it is, but it's highly unusual. Even for me, having watched radar for about 14 years, I've never seen anything quite like this. It literally, well, it looks like it has frequencies emitting from it, which nanobots can. So, yeah, it's whatever the hell is happening in our atmosphere, you can bet it's not good. Look at this. So we have a real strong pulse, Southern California, very strong. And look, it's wild. You can see all the ripples within the supposed precipitation. This here seems to be going in hurricane fashion, hurricane mode. You can see that there are frequencies here, New Mexico, extremely low frequencies cutting through the precipitation right here, the very defined line of what, a weather front? We don't even know if this is precipitation. Here we can pretty much gather that there is this little, what I believe is an activated nanobot. This does not look good for Texas, not at all. And this seems to just hang about for a bit, and then, well, it stretches off into some very bizarre sword, serrated knife. What the hell is this? All right, well, I think artificial intelligence and nanotechnology are operating as weather whether we like it or not. Here we have more thunderstorms for Oklahoma, a whole lot of, well, whatever you want to call it. But this is not a natural weather front at all. And all of these nanobots seem to be going in a direction that, no, we usually saw weather fronts go from the west to the east, and these little nanobots are traveling along in Louisiana. We do have this Hurricane Raphael, which I'll get to in a second. The other thing that I've noticed tonight, which is a little unusual, Doppler radar. Now, we usually would see Doppler radar and it would start from the northeast and go right on down the coast, the eastern coast of the country. All of these seem to be operating at the same time and moving in a southerly, moving southward. This seems a little odd, but you can see the extremely low frequencies, what people used to call pie cutouts, the long lines. All right, so we do have some severe weather in Texas. No tornadoes, but oh good, there were 4 or 5 severe weather alerts in Texas. Now there is only 2, and we've got Coke and Concho, Runnels, Tom Green, Bell, and Falls. Okay, you guys, be careful. Be very careful. Just south of Waco and just north, well, San Angelo area. Be very careful. So let me show you the capture that I didn't save it. Let me save it. So this was at 8:37 this morning.
See on your screen, covered in flames, and now it is completely level. As you can see right there, those winds continue moving those embers, brush continues catching on fire.
I'll do this again, I'm sorry.
From the smoke and
got a little distracted by the canine, by the felines. Sorry. And I didn't mean to have the volume on. I was listening to a broadcast of these fires. But yeah, radar, let's just say, it ain't what it used to be. So 8:37 Idaho time, which I think, look at all of these frequencies taking place in Southern California. And this is so, yeah, the frequencies in use for every weather front. But as you can see, these frequencies they're a happening thing right where the fires are, coming out of Nevada and California and crossing one another. That's very dangerous. All the ripples. Oh, and here's Hurricane Raphael, which does not seem to be a concern. And I'll show you that in one second. But even the clouds, it's so obvious that we've got the frequencies going and that these clouds are manufactured. manufactured. They're not real, not natural. I've never seen a hurricane that had, this kind of edge to it. It sure does look like they are blowing up the cloud material in this, but look at how there's right angles in this. So that is not Mother Nature right here. This whole thing is engineered. But look at how straight lined right here. You got the right angle up here. It looks like a fake mess as far as I'm concerned. And you can see the very defined features where I guess the eye is supposed to be. It's right here. Oh God, why do I do this to you guys? Why do I do it to myself? Look at this. I mean, really? What are we supposed to think this whole outer band is? What else did I have? All of the microwaves up here in the Northeast, which are quite evident even from here, but I do zoom in, which you can see the very straight lined feature of this cloud right here, Virginia, North Carolina. Look at this. No, sorry. You know, when people see this, and it's visible just looking at the sky, very often you can see the microwaves and the clouds. And yeah, that needs to be questioned. And well, Texas, I'm not quite sure what the hell is going on here, because you've got air masses going in opposite directions. And it looks like you have a row of mountain clouds growing. But yes, I wanted to see, will I be able to see? Probably not. All of the frequencies, again, look at all of these extremely low frequencies blasting away Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri. Very powerful frequencies coming out of Oklahoma hitting this. But you've got the frequencies right here, which you can see very clearly. You've got the straight line cutouts of the precipitation. And so this was at, 8:37 a.m. Now this frequency was coming out of Kansas. That's right. Look at this. Okay. You've got this extremely low frequency that is a constant. And the ripple effect in the precipitation that you can see, that's frequencies. Okay. Well, you have to wonder, why are they using so many frequencies when you're getting severe weather? Right. Okay. So let me show you one more. It's this. So this I did I took it 4:36. All of this. This is why I just get so frustrated, and I'm like playing with my cursor, and it's What the hell is this? Coming out of Nevada, flying very fast into California. Does it have something to do with the fires? This is the hurricane. Very bizarre. And if you look closely, you can see the defined edges, the defined nature of this Raphael. But I was mostly concerned with this. And I cannot, it's not a band of precipitation. It could be chaff. Look at these frequencies driving right through it. But look at how it looks serrated. Okay, that's because it is, well, electrified with electromagnetic frequencies. Look at this. I mean, what are we supposed to think? Look how defined the edge. You got a frequency going right through this. Looks like a worm that starts in Nevada, and then it takes on very defined features. Okay, that is pretty like, what the hell are we looking at? So into thin air, Into Thin Air also posted a video on it, so I'll play that in a second, but I just want to show you. Okay, the forecast model. This is midnight tonight, right? You got the hurricane right there. Look what happens to it. And I'm just going to move through this quickly. So we're starting November 8 at midnight, right here. Oh, wow. Wow. They sure did get rid of that hurricane while it's still in the Gulf. Got a lot of snow up here in Canada. And you've got severe weather coming on, well, next week, November 15, midnight up here in the Northeast. And it looks like New York, New Jersey, Maryland, perhaps, if I'm looking right at this. This is next week, next Friday. Continues on to 6 a.m., November 15, up here, heading on into Vermont, New Hampshire. I hope it's not that bad for you guys up here in the Northeast. And some Massachusetts. Sorry, it's very hard for me to see when you got the layover of the precipitation or moisture. It's very hard for me to see the lines. So yeah, okay. Well, it seems that Raphael has just died out, right? And this is windy starting Thursday from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's tonight. Just, well, could be right now. So yeah, it just dies out. Moving along, Thursday night, Friday, Friday night. Saturday, whoop, they're hitting that with something. They are hitting that with something. And by Sunday, not much is happening. Okay, Rafael dies in the Gulf of Mexico. All right. So that's good news, isn't it? All right. So let's start with Into Thin Air, what he has to say about that bizarre blip coming out of Nevada into California. The link is in the chat. And
it's going to blow your mind. There's a lot of different theories going on, and I can't stress this enough. This is just a theory that the timing of Trump winning the election and then all these expensive California houses burning, some people think that a lot of evidence is being destroyed right now intentionally. Obviously, I cannot say that for sure, so I won't, but it sure is very odd nonetheless. Now, wait till you see this. Remember this video from a while back where I showed how they were manipulating the weather over Area 51 and then shooting it with these beams, and then it was spreading out into a weather system? I posted this video a few times, and guess what? It's happening right now over Area 51 during these wildfires. And this stuff is flowing right into Southern California where these fires are. And you can see that taking place right here. And now I want to break this down frame by frame to show you exactly what's taking place here. It's insane. We are looking at this little thing right here. This just came from Area 51. I can't backtrack anymore, but if you look closer, you can see these very distinct straight lines. They just dropped this over Area 51. And then what happens is, and when I say they, I mean airplanes drop this over that Area 51 base. And then take a look at this. Watch what happens to this as we move forward right over.
I just want to interject, and I'm not saying he's wrong or right, not saying I'm wrong or right, but an airplane doesn't have to drop it. It could be nanotechnology activated in our atmosphere. Chaff is usually dropped by an airplane, but we've got so much going on that we don't even know. We don't even know. All right, so we're just trying to put the pieces of this puzzle together. But do you see what we used to refer to as a harp ring? It is right here, Doppler radar ring, the very, very defined circular pattern. Got a lot of frequencies going during these fires.
Over the California fires. These fires are all over Southern California right now. We talked about this. We predicted this because we saw a very odd anomaly taking place in the Northwest right as this system was coming down that caused the Santa Ana winds and then ensuing wildfires, my friends. This is wild stuff. Take a look at this little thing that got dropped over Area 51. It will then expand out over Southern California. It is getting shot left and right by different next-rad radar towers. This one specifically shot this second band right here. You could see it gets dropped right about there. So they're dropping them over Area 51. They're flowing this way. And then as they pass the radar, they're getting zapped. Now watch this one and watch this one. Here we go. Boom, we're moving forward. And then zap right there. This radar tower hits this group of whatever they dropped in the sky. And then watch what happens next. These things fan out and begin to expand. And as they're expanding, they're getting hit more and more. You can see these beams going nuts, and these things keep widening out. Now I'm going to show you a wider view, and you're going to see that these are flowing right into our jet stream and then into our weather. It's absolutely insane. All right, so here we go again. Here's number one. Here's number two. You're going to see this one get shot, and then watch what happens to these. They're going to flow right into our jet stream and into the rest of the country. I can't believe this is even allowed to happen, but here it is. Boom. That one just got shot there. I'll backtrack real quick. There you can see, bam. There you can see it nice and clear. clear. Now watch this one and watch where this goes. Take a look at what it connects to and what starts happening here. This flows all the way down into the Baja region of Mexico. This one's starting to widen here. And then take a look at this. Boom, swoops right into our jet stream. And this will now be inside of our moisture that flows into the rest of the country. So whatever they put inside there is now going to be all over us. And this is very odd too. What's going on in New Mexico as well? If we go ahead and zoom into New Mexico, as I said, look at this area right here, right next to a radar tower. Watch, it's like a negative area that's been blocked out. You could see a gap in between right here. This is not supposed to be here at all, my friends. I don't care what they tell you. This is not birds, this is not bugs, and this is certainly not dust. So look at this right now, it's weird. And here is what they dropped over Area 51. If it's some sort of chaff, whatever's in that stuff they dropped is now connecting to our jet stream and flowing over our people in different states. This is what they're dumping on us, my friends. So what do you think these people are getting down on the ground on top of their food? All these things that people don't think about when they're dropping stuff overhead. Take a look at this view of California here. It's very smoky. You're going to see the fire begin right about there. This was early in the day on November 6th, and we said this would happen. We knew these wildfires were coming. You could see it start right about there. There's one over here, and a couple down in the Baja of Mexico. And then we move forward. You can see that long strip of smoke coming out of the Ventura County region. I used to live in Simi Valley. We wouldn't get these fires close to me, but they would be up on the valley. But there you have it, my friend. We knew this was coming. We said there would be wildfires and damaging winds coming to California because of this situation we saw in the Northwest. You could see it.
And I also played this video, and he's exactly right. The day before he showed that, spoke of the Santa Ana winds, these frequencies, and said there would be fires. Well, sure enough, bad fires. Before we get to the fires, let us, hang on. First, Colombia. Again, Colombia. Massive flooding.
Por lo menos 1 metro largo subió el nivel del agua aquí en el humedal.
Bogota, the capital city of Colombia, experienced a severe flooding event between November 6th and 7th, 2024.
Puede dar cualquier cantidad de tiempo.
Okay, I will link to this video. You can click on the link. I have recommended that you do subscribe to these weather channels because they keep you up to date on what is happening all over the world. And there's a lot happening all over the world, and a whole lot of people are suffering the consequences of weather used as a weapon, not climate change. YouTube, when you get ready to knock channels off your platform on climate change, oh, may I be the first to go. Jefferson County, Missouri. Residents urged to leave before flood levels rise even more. Rivers seem to be rising. I was very surprised to see in some states, but this one in Missouri, well, they did have quite a bit of rain. But this is what we see all the time now. We don't just get rain. We get severe weather. We get flash flooding. We get homes destroyed. We get cars destroyed. We get the hail, we get the roofs destroyed and cars destroyed. And this is insane that people are not questioning how it is that we're having severe weather all the time. Are they that indoctrinated by mainstream media that all they can possibly process is more of the lie? More of the lie. Give me more of the lie, climate change. Yeah, I guess.
And this is video from Drone 4 in Cedar Hill over the Big River. Now, it's here that the river is expected to crest at 27 feet. This would be the 8th highest crest recorded in the area, according to NOAA. Firefighters are now working to get some people to leave, and many of them have already listened. Tuesday began as an ordinary day for Krista Morath and her family until floodwaters began to rush through their part of Jefferson County.
We were at the grocery store doing a pickup order, and my daughter said, "Mom, the water is rushing in the yard already," and they couldn't even get out.
Luckily, the water coming from the Big River hadn't reached the home just yet.
So we went to the fire station right up the road and asked their opinion, and they said, "Well, we'd rather rescue them now than later."
According to the Cedar Hill Fire Protection District, around 15 to 20 people were rescued from their homes Wednesday morning. The flooding is expected to get worse over the next 24 hours. Even with warnings asking for people to leave the area, Fire Chief Mick Fisher says some don't want to take the department's advice.
Some of these people were people that we were there previous, and we tried to get them to come out, and they didn't want to come out, and then they called us, and we had to go back out and get them.
Jefferson.
Okay, a lot of that narrative, I believe, is to get a lot of people to feel guilty about staying, and you've got to obey the authorities when they tell you to evacuate. But what we are also seeing are these massive floods so deep that an awful lot of people who can't imagine that it's going to be, 3 feet, 4 feet inside their house, they do stay, and then they do call. And as I said, we are trapped in their web. Oh, the World Wide Web, www.com. Already homes flooded, Missouri. And evacuations urged for Missouri community. And they are expecting the river, Merrimack River, to rise to 27 feet?
The air at noon, we're showing you a live picture of Highway 141 at Interstate 44. This is Valley Park, where rising water forced MoDOT to close the southbound lanes of 141 early this morning. And then just about an hour ago, the northbound lanes were shut down as well. Traffic is being diverted. It is best to find an alternate route for the next few days. This is all courtesy of the rising Merrimack River. Commuters in Valley Park aren't the only ones being affected. Communities that border the river are scrambling now to get to higher ground. Thanks for being here. I'm Kay Quinn. Forecasters now predicting the Merrimack at Pacific will rise to over 26 feet by noon tomorrow. Here's what's happening in Pacific. This is an aerial view of parts of that community already underwater. This all comes after 7 to 8 inches of rain fell in a 2-day period, Monday into Tuesday. Now people who live there are scrambling to fill sandbags and move to higher ground. 5 on Your Side's Travis Cummings brings us more on an urgent message from the mayor of Pacific.
Get out now. That's the message. Heavy flooding leads to over 100 closed roads. In Orangeburg County? Oh, South Carolina.
Said this is causing major flooding in the Orangeburg area. More than 100 roads, we are being told, are closed in Orangeburg County because of flooding. Emergency officials have been busy throughout the night and early this morning, urging people to stay off the roads and trying to put up markers so that people don't drive in to water like you are seeing here. Incredible. Our News 19's Victoria Samuels has been down in Orangeburg. And Vic, I understand that the police actually had to escort you to wherever you are right now to make sure you're.
Because the road got destroyed. This is South Carolina. Look at this road. Collapsed. Guardrail. The whole thing. Rain did this? South Carolina? Anybody, did anybody know that they were having severe weather in South Carolina? Rain does this. Well, we sure are screwed. All right. Extremely low frequencies can bust up roads, drop bridges, curl up guardrails. This is Storm Chaser Aaron Rigsby, but I cannot play. I don't play storm channels. But look at this road. This is a different road. Norway, South Carolina. Okay, so this was a rescue in Norway, South Carolina. Okay, flash flooding all over. All you need is rain. Washed away the road. All right. And Barcelona. Let me click off some of this. Barcelona. So Valencia, Spain, we know about that flooding. Horrendous. Very much in tune with what took place in Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee. But now, okay, another place gets hit in Spain, Barcelona.
Severe flooding due to heavy rains in Barcelona, Spain. On November 4, heavy rains in Barcelona and other parts of Spain caused numerous floods to affect the roads, El Prat Airport and more. Heavy rains due to Dana in Spain, which devastated Valencia, also affected Barcelona, with flooding leaving various points inoperable. Spotted in the metro, Trump and
Do you think Trump doesn't know about weather modification, weather used as weapons? Why hasn't he mentioned anything? If he's apparently, I don't know, God to a lot of people, why hasn't he mentioned? It was his uncle, John Trump, who reviewed Tesla's notes. Very interesting, isn't it? And Donald said, "Oh, John, well, I come from a brilliant family." And Donald talked during that interview about these new weapons that will come about. And I can't remember the exact thing that he said, but it was something like, they're scary, these weapons. Okay. Guess that would just be too much truth for people. Look. Once again, there. It's coming up from the drainage. We've seen this quite a lot. Mountain fire burning out of control. I was looking at what was happening in California for a long time. I have quite a bit. I'm not going to play, the videos, but I'm just going to show you what I saw. But a whole lot of people have lost their homes. The last number I heard in one, I think it was the mountain fire, Camarillo, 50 plus homes gone. Very quickly gone. And it's still burning.
According to preliminary estimates, the sweeping mountain fire here in Ventura County may have wiped out at least 50 homes. The cause is still a mystery, but the effects are painfully clear. Widespread devastation as the wind-whipped mountain fire tore through parts of Ventura County Wednesday, annihilating homes and neighborhoods, scorching thousands of acres and trapping some elderly residents, some of them wheelchair-bound, who could not escape on their own and had to be rescued. Many homes burned to the ground. Others were spared under.
Yeah, a home right next to a home that literally got incinerated. And in this sky, well, it's smoky, so I shouldn't say anything. Homes destroyed by explosive mountain fire. So I don't know if you heard that part where Into Thin Air said that many people are thinking that this happened right after the election, and very, very expensive homes going up in smoke, and people were saying that they were burnt up because they're burning up evidence of something. What? Really? Okay. I can't speak to that. Not at all. But what I can speak to is the intentionality.
With the very latest on, sadly, so many homes devastated by this stew.
Okay. And these fires with these winds, my God, the winds are extraordinary. And yet they leave nothing, no soot, nothing on the streets, on the driveways, on the homes next door. And this one brought to ashes. Okay, so the fire, for some reason, is somewhere else, blowing these very embers that, well, are very powerful, obviously. And these embers seem to just go on the house. So you can see the burn mark right here, right? But this tree is fine. Burn mark, but these bushes are fine. Are we looking at the plasma fires that Jeff Schneider 2 speaks of? Perhaps. Look at this. Well, I don't even know if this was a structure. It looks like it was maybe a small structure, but the trees right around it are absolutely fine. And they do seem to be quite crispy, the leaves, but they're fine. Very unusual.
That's right. It was heartbreaking to watch all these homes burning yesterday afternoon when that fire was ripping through this Camarillo area. Now we can move Skyfox away from where those active flames are. We came back to that Camarillo neighborhood up here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 just in this shot, but the trees are fine.
Here, and this is the first time without all that smoke and haze that we can see all that devastation down there. Just neighborhoods devastated, home after home after home.
So where was I? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Destroyed. We know Christy is down there right now, and they've got that, they've got the view.
So they were saying
the ground, and they probably are still seeing.
All right, so you see the burn marks, right? And apparently this fire was just in that little gully, but it stops right there, doesn't burn up the trees, but takes out the houses. People really do need to start questioning these fires, man.
From the ground, and they probably are still seeing a lot of those hot spots. Fire trucks dot the neighborhoods, and they are continuing to battle these flames. This firefight definitely not over, even though it looks like it's very quiet and every.
I don't know where I was, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oof. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Everything is done. It is not. 8 miles away is where the active fire is right now. You can see that huge plume right there.
But the winds are so strong that from there, the embers are flying miles, landing on a house, and incinerating that house in a few short hours. Metal, porcelain, everything brought to dust. People believe this?
This is where Skyfox was earlier on. That's going to be very close to Santa Paula. That's where all the big fire is right now.
And yes, it traveled on to Santa Paula. But listen to this. I just, yeah, okay.
Able to hear it on the microphone, but now that the sun is up, we're also seeing just a scale of devastation. In fact, take a look here behind me. This is the house that I showed you in the last hour. Some of the tenants that live in the back were here, and they told me this was an incredibly beautiful home, a very stately home. You can see the staircase that led up to the front door. There was also
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I just am, I don't know. I'm tired of this bullshit world that we're living in with so many people lying all the time. Look at these bushes, absolutely fine, surrounding the entire home. The fire, well, it just contained itself to the home.
also a staircase that led to a rooftop of which had beautiful, beautiful views. But unfortunately, those Santa Anas were so powerful that it just pushed the fire into one home, then another, then another. This is just Mountain View Drive, and we're seeing multiple homes that have been reduced to rubble. And I want to show you what it looked like yesterday. Take a look at this video. This fire spread very, very quickly, and Ventura County Fire said they threw absolutely everything they could at this fire because they knew just how dangerous and the potential for it to explode was. That's why they called in firefighters from every local fire agency they could, as well as law enforcement agencies. They said they also reached out to get as much aircraft as they could, both fixed wing and also helicopters. Unfortunately, though, when you get those really powerful gusts, it complicates the firefight because firefighters can't fly some of those aircraft. It actually grounds them. And even when they can do water drops and retardant drops, it is very difficult to get them in the places they want, because we've seen the wind actually just blow the water or blow the fire retardant away from the intended target. And that's why they issued evacuation orders and asked everyone to heed them. And those neighbors that have evacuated, all they can do at this point is wait.
All right, I need to pull up Jeff Schneider's channel. So if you don't know about plasma fires, I highly recommend that you click on this link and learn. He's got countless videos on plasma fires coming from the ground. And yeah. Oh, he has one on the California fires. Good. I will post the link to this video.
Okay, so there's massive plasma fire going through Ventura County in California, and we'll talk about some of the standard burn patterns that show that it's plasma fire. But first, she's going to show this long line of rocks that are burning like pieces of coal. And this is a new and different feature that I've never seen. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Of heavy smoke throughout these neighborhoods, and we came across this property.
Notice all the unburned palm fronds, just like normal plasma fire. All the vegetation between the houses is not burned. What does burn is the cars and houses. All of the cars have zero glass. It burned hot enough to melt the glass, which is like 2,700 degrees. Far hotter than any forest fire or any car fire. And every one of those cars has zero glass. All of that glass is melted. The engine block is pouring out the front of that vehicle. Now look at this. What the hell is that? And notice all the unburned foliage all around it. She calls it a brush fire right here. You can see the brush behind it is doing just fine.
And you can see how dead these some of these bushes are, and the hanging right by the fire. And for some reason, I'm wondering, is this wood? Could be wood, but I do have to say, and I'll show you my face while I'm saying this. There are many methods to start these fires, to keep them going. And while Jeff, focuses on plasma and does believe, I guess, that it's all plasma, directed energy weapons can also do what he is talking about with the cars, with the glass melting and all of that kind of stuff, with the homes. So, yeah, I'm not one to just rest on one particular weapon and voila. But what we sure do know is that these are not wildfires. So if they're not wildfires, what are they? These fires that just seem to, they're wild house fires, they're wild car fires. People really do need to start questioning what is going on. Well, look, I understand that people who have lost their homes are in complete shock. Shock begins to wear off, and they begin to maybe see some very bizarre features of this fire. Like I'll show you in a moment.
This is one of those properties here in Santa Paula. This is just a beautiful property. It's off South Mountain Road. You can see all that's left here is the chimney. Now, the owner told us that she was really worried about the winds yesterday. And you can see as we pan right the hillside here how it's just charred. And as we pan all the way around, you can see that, her garden area, this whole place that was set up to be her special place has burned to the ground. Now, this woman, she woke up yesterday worried about the winds. She decided to check on her daughters nearby. She left the property. She wasn't gone long. She came back to her house burning down, and she had to grab what she could. Don DeLeon, come on in. We want to talk to you. Thank you so much. And you're here with one of your pets.
What is this? Right here, behind her. Look at this tree. All right, so fire is coming from below, the plasma fires. Yeah.
This is Polar.
Polar bear.
The polar bear. Walk us through what happened so quickly yesterday.
It was just very scary. The wind was about 60, 70 miles an hour. It just all happened so fast. And this started on Balcom Canyon, and within minutes, or I don't know how long, but it got here so fast. I left here, went to a house half a mile down the road, said, oh, I forgot my phone, came back, and the house was on fire and couldn't get up here again.
Let's walk over to your vehicle. So you were able to quickly pack the vehicle, and inside.
And inside are 6 dogs. Home gone. Look at this. Do you see something before I even play it? Can you see something that's a little odd? Plastic chair. No soot. Not even discolored.
It's always sad when you see it. A home that just recently burned to the ground as a result of this mountain fire. This is a home off of Mountain Road. It overlooks the Santa Paula area, has a beautiful view of the whole valley here. And I'm sure that's why the homeowners chose this location. But that also made it extremely fire prone. It's up on top of a hill here. And the winds came through here, pushed the fire over the hill towards this place. And we spoke to another news photographer who was here earlier when the home was fully engulfed, and he said that helicopters, fire department helicopters, tried to drop fire retardant in this area, but what was happening was it was so windy that the retardant couldn't hit the target. I mean, it was basically flying back up. There was no point. That's how bad the winds were. And when you see a house
Oh, and by the way, in a particular neighborhood, the firefighters ran out of water. They had no water. There was no water coming through the hydrants. Really? Okay. USA, USA, USA. Yeah, it's quite something to see over and over and over again. Homes just getting decimated. Yeah. Oh boy. And why, how an ember? So it burned this very, very short grass, but stopped right there and there. Look at behind you. Look at what is right on the corner of this house. Untouched. Come on. And then, I love it with these wildfires that just kind of, well, I'm going to take out this house, leave that bush alone, leave all of these trees alone, and I'll jump over and take out that house too. Look at this. So the fire was right here, and the tree is completely fine. Well, we know that these fires are not natural wildfires. Whether somebody wants to dig into, what it could be, all of the details, a lot of us did that throughout the years. But all they need to know really is that It's not natural. So something is happening, and something's happening to destroy an awful lot of people's homes and, well, their lives. Look at this. Really? An ember, I guess, fell into the truck. A truck with a horse trailer. That didn't look like fire retardant. What was that? What did this helicopter just drop? An ember, I guess, got underneath this tree somehow. Plasma fire.
Keep an eye down there.
Fire coming from underneath the ground. Okay, I'm going to post a link to this. There's more, and you can check it out. So, New Jersey. New Jersey, still battling their brush fire.
Fire burning right now in Jackson Township. They say dry conditions are fueling the flames.
As Alicia Reed reports, about 175 acres have burned, and the fire is only 20% contained.
Christine and Maurice, the cause of this fire remains under investigation. New Jersey Forest Fire Service named it the shotgun wildfire. It started in or near a shooting range. Good news tonight for residents who were evacuated. As of 9 o'clock, they got the green light, saying it was okay for them to head back home. But this fire is far from over. Crews will be working throughout the night.
So the fires in Connecticut are still going on. And, well, back to the mountain fire. Sorry. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. I'm from the Northeast. Wildfires were Not so common. Extremely rare. But now they can happen anywhere.
Good morning to you. A rainless October paired with wind making for a tough situation. Most of November has been dry as well, so the streak continues. Here in Staten Island, we're outside Brookfield Park. These conditions are not so windy where you don't smell the fire, but if the wind was blowing in a different direction, you would smell that burning ash smell. Luckily, even though there are homes around the park, none of them are in danger. The fire is deep inside Brookfield Park, and that's part of the problem because firefighters are having a tough time getting to that fire.
Staten Island is one of the boroughs of New York City. Okay, I guess it's been very, very dry, right? So a lot of news on the fires in New Jersey, in New York, in Connecticut, and Germany today. Okay. When you see this, and well, a whole lot of people, I guess, have the ability to just think that it's natural. Are they seeing something that is different from what we are seeing? But if they're seeing this, they have to ask themselves, well, what is it that they are spraying in our atmosphere? Because an awful lot of what they spray is incendiary. And they're spraying it on trees, and they're spraying it in the forests, and they're spraying it in the suburbs, and they're spraying it in the cities, and they're spraying it on houses, putting out fires very difficult. Aluminum, nanoparticulate aluminum, very incendiary. All over the globe. Oh, I can't say globe. Flat earthers get pissed off at me. Really? We have adults walking that think that this is perfectly normal. That's why I am saying that there was no hope with Kamala, and we know that. There's false hope that Trump dishes out. If the people can't get right, we're lost. We're gone. You know? And something's very wrong with the people. And, you know, a whole lot of people, you know, kind of demarcate pre and post COVID. The post meaning getting that new product. People haven't been right for a very, very long time, having nothing to do with the new product. So they're more not all right now because of that, but more flooding. Mecklenburg, this is North Carolina, more buyouts They do not want these people in this area. And I'll show you more evidence of that, but
Mecklenburg County commissioners are approving funding for a voluntary buyout plan for homes affected by flooding from Helene. The program allows property owners, if interested, to accept money from the county for their homes if they are at risk of more flooding or pose a risk to somebody's life. Grants are also being offered to help cover the cost of demolition or elevating a home to prevent more flooding. And this is happening with the homeowners on Riverside Drive in Northwest Charlotte. That county will now give offers for the property to owners that are eligible for the program.
And this is what they do. So they create the destruction, and then an awful lot of the owners of the property realize we're not going to be able to sell. So government steps in. Oh, we'll buy it. Pennies on a dollar, but hey, at least you get something. And this has been going on for decades. So listen to what this man has to say, North Carolina, about, you would think that some of these rules and regulations that government has where you can park an RV or put up a tiny home, they might relax a little bit and let people just have some kind of shelter, considering that so many people have none and it's a disaster. But no, well, somehow the people have to override government officials because they're destroying people.
This got changed, right? Yes, basically, but the campers that we have here now, we can leave them here. We're not allowed to bring any more in. Okay. So we had cleared a bunch of land, about 2 acres from here down to the bridge, so we can add in about 40 more campers for homeowners. Okay. They have put a stop to that.
So the RVs that are there now, which I think are about 10, he's going to leave there, but they cleared 2 acres to bring in 40 more RVs. And government officials said, oh, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to provide people with housing that are now homeless because, well, their home just flooded on down the mountain. They will not permit it.
Because it is now in the floodplain.
So they changed it. They basically just make it a floodplain wherever they want.
Basically, they won't give you any answers, and they said that they cannot relax the permitting rules because that's their job, and they're not losing their job to help anyone. And that was from the head fire inspector and the head county inspector in Buncombe County.
So it looks to us like they're trying to run the people out of here. Basically, that they don't want any, they want to keep the numbers down so nobody would come in here and rebuild.
I mean, that's what it looks like. I mean, all you have to do is see that they are not allowing people to either rebuild or live anywhere. Most of these people that are in these campers rented property. They rented their house that they lived in, so they don't have the land to put a camper.
That's right.
They don't want to leave there. They want to live here. Most of them work here. We have a school teacher that lives in this park right here, so she's a school teacher here in this county.
Yeah.
She don't have land because she rented a house.
I got you.
So, I mean, what would anybody think if you're trying to keep them out?
All right, so let me ask you a question. Do you think it would be better to come put the campers in here and make them physically take you out? Or do you think they would do that if you're sitting here with cameras and they said, you ain't going to move that camper in here, and everybody here with cameras, you think they'd give up?
I think they...
All right, so they're talking about, okay, not listening to those government officials and just bringing in the RVs. But apparently this land is not his, and there's another owner of this land. So the owner of the land would have to consent to disobeying government. But everything, our life, we're trapped. Everything, we're slaves. We've got to bow down to government officials. It's madness, especially when people are homeless. You want to get them homes. You want to get them some kind of shelter, right? You want to help people. Oh, no, you can't do that. This is absolutely evidence of how evil government is. So I'm going to post the link. There's still, about 4 minutes of these men talking, but can't give you a permit. Sorry. Buncombe County, that's where they are. And what is this? Safety alert. Stomach illness increasing in Western North Carolina after Helene. What was so incredibly beautiful, Appalachian Mountains, all of these towns, now has just become toxic.
A safety alert. Health officials in North Carolina are... Well, we do have a safety alert. Health officials in North Carolina are warning the public about a bacteria infection. They believe it is spreading due to unsanitary conditions from Helene. Fox Carolina's Carrie Beal joining us right now to explain how to keep your family safe.
Well, officials say all of this damage and flooding is causing an increase in stomach illnesses. This is when bacteria gets into your body and really makes you sick. You may have a fever, vomit, chills, or other abdominal symptoms. These illnesses can spread when people come in contact with sewage, bacteria that spreads through floodwaters, and when people drink untreated water. They also believe a lack of refrigeration may have contributed to the problem. So here's how you can prevent these stomach illnesses. Drink and use.
If you can get sanitary water, if you have power, you can boil that water. Okay. What else do we know? We know there are an awful lot of dead bodies in this area. And there was some kind of nuclear facility up above. A whole lot of factories lined the river. So and of course, I wish that we never ever entered the lithium ion battery era. Oh, I know. Well, then you wouldn't have a cell phone. Oh, okay. We wouldn't have, the internet. Oh, I'm talking about decades ago. I want my life back. I don't like this life.
Lithium-ion batteries power a lot of devices, from cell phones and EVs to e-bikes and laptops.
But if these batteries are flawed, they have the potential to cause serious harm or even death. WGN's Joel Hillary has that story.
The Chicago Fire Department now tracks lithium-ion battery fires, which are happening more and more across the world. These batteries can explode without much notice and ignite fire, even if they're not charging.
The occupants were home at the time of the fire. They heard the battery fail. It made a noise. The device was blocking the egress of the person that succumbed from their injuries. That's a message we want to push out to everybody.
And I also just saw, and I'll post this video because I think a lot of you know how dangerous lithium-ion batteries are, but I just saw this warning for people who have Apple cell phones, the iPhones. A warning: when you're charging your phone, your battery could explode. Okay. So be careful, be mindful. A whole lot of cars with lithium batteries, electric cars, explode in the garage of people's homes, burn down the house. When it's not on, okay? Yeah. The car is not in use. But we'll never get rid of these dangers. They're here to stay. Great. All right, so the world hates good people. This is true. This is true. I'm not going to play it. I might at some other point. But yeah. Press for Truth, Dan Dix, just posted this video. I'm just going to play a few minutes of it. But, okay. It's amazing to see Twitter can't get off the election, can't get off Trump's victory. Everybody posting just about the election, just about the victory of the red side. And they believe they now have freedom. Elon Musk partnering with Trump. Everybody, so many people believe that Elon Musk is he's out there. He's one of the good billionaires fighting the good fight. Oy, okay. Neuralink, right? Satellites, Starlink. Trump, Peter Thiel, all of these people. I do get tired arguing the same thing over and over and over again, so I just can't do it. So here, this is Elon Musk.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth.
Well, this is Dan Dix, which he will show you Elon Musk.
Truth coming at you here today with a quick video report because Elon Musk just posted this photo of himself with President-elect Donald Trump, and he captioned it with just 3 words: Novus Ordo Seclorum. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen him use this phrase. A few years ago, he was at an event called the Met Gala, where he wore this jacket. And if you look very closely at the back, it says Novus Ordo Seclorum. This is a Latin phrase that can be found on the Great Seal of the United States on their $1 bill, where right here at the bottom it says Novus Ordo Seclorum, which translates to New Order of the Ages. Or in some circles, it translates to New Secular Order. And this is where the term New World Order is derived from. But you'll notice another Latin phrase at the very top of the seal that says Annuit Coeptis, which translates to He favors our undertakings, with a very ominous looking all-seeing eye that's in a capstone floating above an Egyptian pyramid. But just who exactly is the he that they are referring to who favors their undertakings? Well, you'll notice beside this phrase, it says, in God we trust, which is who they're referring to when saying he favors our undertakings for this new order of the ages or this new world order. But what God are they referring to? On Halloween, Elon Musk chose this costume. And yes, it's just Halloween. One could argue he's just embracing the spirit of the holiday, but it's still a pretty interesting choice to have an upside down cross on the forehead of Baphomet, which is an androgynous male and female goat-headed figure who was worshipped by the Knights Templars way back in the early 14th century. And he's actually still idolized to this very day with statues by Satanists. So what is Elon and Trump's plans here for the new world order of the ages? And is it really their plan, or is it the plan all along?
Well, watch this compilation now that I put together almost 15 years ago for my film United We Fall that shows political leaders on all sides of the political spectrum calling for this new world order, which is now starting to come into view.
The hope that each of us has to build a new world order in which nations and peoples with different systems and different values can live together in peace.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. Now we can see a new world coming into view.
All right, you guys know this, right? But I'm going to post a link. You can watch the full video. Yeah, you got to wonder, okay, you've heard a lot of these people saying an awful lot. It goes through, Kissinger and Clinton and leaders of other countries, Britain and France, and everybody wants a new world order. And then when you try to talk to the ordinary people out there, they just think you're crazy. All right. Well, those who have voted for Trump or believe he's going to be bringing back what? The government as it's supposed to be operating? No. Okay. We're a constitutional republic. And I do, who was it who said we're a constitutional democracy? And I was like, whoa. Yeah, really? Constitutional democracy? No. If this country actually had leaders, had people in positions of power that adhered to the Constitution, that took their oath seriously, weren't psychopathic liars, and we still actually had a constitutional republic, it would mean the federal government wouldn't be in all these wars. Federal government would be very tiny. State governments would have more power than federal government, and state governments would operate as if they were their own sovereign little country within the United States. You think we can ever get that? No, we're not going. We won't be there. So, yeah. Skip, based on looking at what Trump was doing as opposed to what he was saying when he was president, what people do, they give you a really good indication of what is going to be coming about from them. And yeah, freedom never intended for you to be free. I think that's quite right. Yeah. We were never intended. It's a delusion, that they have been able to maintain. So, and this idea that Americans, I don't know what Americans think now, but I've heard it pretty much my entire life. We're exceptional. This is the best country to live in, morally superior, yada, yada, yada. Well, no. When you broaden your horizons and get out of your bubble and begin to, listen to what others say in other countries, you get to see, okay, maybe we're not so great.
This is one of my favorites to talk about because, as an American, we grew up with this constant drumbeat of telling us about what a great country America is because it's so free and because we have all this freedom and so forth. This is the ultimate example of a misconception. America is the land of the free. It's completely meaningless. I mean, ask an American, what do you even mean? What do you mean by freedom? What do you mean by the freedom that you have that other people don't have? It's like saying America is the best country because we have the color green. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, you may have health care in your country, you may have efficient public transportation in your country, but at least in America, we have the color green. The average American citizen has less freedom than any random villager in Indonesia or in Ghana or in any other part of the global South. What freedom are you even talking about? I mean, you're living, most Americans, the overwhelming majority of Americans, as we've been talking about when we were talking about the economy, and you can't separate the economy and the economic standard of living and quality of life of the people. You can't separate that from their freedom. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. For most Americans, if they miss even one paycheck, they're going to be thrown out onto the street. That's the reality. You don't have just one master in America in terms of your slavery. We were talking about debt slavery, wage slavery, and so on. Your employer is your master. Your student loan officer is your master. Your landlord is your master. The credit card bureau is your master. Your mortgage loan officer is your master. Your insurance adjuster, your HMO, the IRS, your credit card company, they're all your masters. In America, you're a slave with many masters. And they all have their chains on you, and they all have their own lash that they can use on your back. So what freedom do you have? You have more laws in America and more regulations in America than any other country in the world. The average American's daily life is governed or influenced or restricted or in one way or another determined literally by tens of thousands of laws and regulations. Upwards of 50,000 to 100,000 rules at the municipal level, the state level, the federal level, not to mention the rules in your own company that you work for, whatever rules that your employer imposes upon you. This is like scaffolding around the daily routine and activities of the American people, of any average American citizen. Most of these rules actually only exist, no matter what they tell you, they'll tell you that these rules all exist to make the society better and to protect you and to make you safe and so on. But the truth of the matter is, and any American who's listening knows this to be true by your own experience, that these rules only exist for the purpose of generating revenue for the enforcing body of those rules through the imposition of fines and fees and so forth. That's the real purpose behind most of these. It's not health and safety and security and efficiency or what have you. It's just to make money off of you. And you have no say in America, in your great democratic country. You have no say in how any of that money is spent. Any of that money that they collect from you, that they oblige you to pay, you have no say in how any of that money is spent. You don't decide what anyone who collects that money, you have no say in what they do with that money. So I'm asking, what freedom do you have? What freedom do you have that's so special and so unique? None. Honestly, none. Zero. There are no freedoms that you have in the West, in America, that are not available elsewhere. And there is freedom elsewhere that you do not have in America. But they tell you all the time about how free you are, so that by implication, you will assume that every other country in the world is an oppressive tyranny and no one is able to do anything. And then, of course, you have the fact that the overwhelming majority of Americans never leave that country, so they don't even know what it's like in any other country. Western civilization, so-called civilization, never did actually believe in freedom as the highest value. That's the reality that they don't even want you to know about. They never did believe in freedom as the highest value. This is just something that they tell you. It's just part of the sales pitch to convince you about how wonderful your society is. I mean, if you go back to the alleged philosophical roots of Western so-called civilization, to ancient Greece and so on, these philosophers that they always claim as their own and as their inspiration, Aristotle didn't believe in this. Plato didn't believe in this. The real foundation of Western belief has always been more authoritarian and classist than it was ever liberal and democratic. They always believed in order and the security of the status quo above liberty and freedom. Always. They always believed in power being held by the elite. If you've read these philosophers, you'll know that. And if you've read, whether you're talking about the Greek philosophers, the Enlightenment thinkers, or the so-called founding fathers, that's the lineage of thought behind the modern Western power structure. They just sell to the public this idea about freedom, because anyone with any sense knows that you can't actually even base an organized society on liberty and the so-called sovereignty of the individual. Everyone who thinks about it for more than 5 seconds knows that. If your society was actually based on what you claim it was based on, well, that's a Ted Kaczynski mentality. How long would your society even last like that? The whole of America would be like the backwoods of Montana. But they don't even respect you enough. The government, the power structure, doesn't even respect the population enough to tell you that obviously you can't base a society on freedom and liberty. Instead, they have to tell you about how free you are, and they just gaslight you, feed into your fantasies, because they think that you're like children. They treat you like children. They don't even want you to understand the real system that you live in. That's why they don't even educate people properly. That's why you can see these videos online where people are asking random Americans on the street basic questions, like name a country that starts with the letter B. And they say, shoes. The level of idiocy that's being imposed upon the public is astronomical. You'll probably say the freedom to criticize the government, the freedom to protest. They only give you the freedom to protest in a democracy when they're not actually giving you democracy. I mean, think about it. Think that through. Why would you even need to go out in the streets and demand this or that if you have a democracy? If you have political institutional mechanisms for having your demands met, why should you protest? Why would you even need to do that? Because your government ignores you. That's why. So your freedom to protest, your freedom to criticize the government, just means that you have the freedom from being listened to. You have the freedom from being listened to. In fact, democracies have actually just perfected the exclusion of the population from policy-making decisions. They've perfected it. The whole so-called democratic mechanism, the whole structure is actually designed to completely marginalize the population. So they've got you busy right now thinking about the election, thinking about who's going to win, and we have to vote for this or vote for that, or vote against this or vote against that, when real power is completely removed from that whole process. But they've got you completely distracted from where real power is, because they've convinced you about how free you are and about how democratic your society is, which just actually, in real practical terms, means that you have no power whatsoever. You have no voice whatsoever. That's why it doesn't matter one bit when you go out and protest in the street. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter any more than you putting your vote in the ballot box. It is equally insignificant to what will happen in terms of policy. It begins from the misconception of thinking that your so-called civilization ever believed in freedom and liberty and democracy and so forth. They never believed in that. And if you actually read as I say, the Greek philosophers, if you read the Enlightenment thinkers, if you read the founding fathers, they never believed in that for 1 minute. And so you actually have the system that they wanted you to have, that you have the system that they believed in, but you have a very, very different system than the one that you believe in, the one that you think you have. It's completely different, but it's the one that they always intended it to be, which is the power being held by the elite and the population being completely marginalized and disempowered.
Bada boom. Yeah. You can't disagree. And our federal government has grown to the point where we are trapped. There's no, possibility of going back to the time when we did have a little bit more freedom than we have now. The freedom that we think we have is really what? You can go to the supermarket and you got a choice between, on the aisles, between this poison and that poison. You had the choice, and you're always stuck in the system that only gives you two choices. That leaves people with, well, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. That's been our entire lives. So nothing has changed. And, even let's say Trump comes into power and January 6th, what could happen on January 6th, which is the refusal to confirm, Trump as president, which would only set up the January 6th repeat, right? Because that guy, he committed an insurrection, and the Constitution, which we never adhere to, but let's bring up the Constitution. And nobody can run for president or be president if they've committed an insurrection. So that's the possibility of January 6th. But it's very, and I had a conversation with the subscriber here. She brought it up and said, she and her daughter were talking last night, said, it's almost too calm. Now, 2016 was crazy. 2020, crazy, violent riots, all of this, crazy left, right fighting. It's a little bit too calm. It feels like, as I go through, and yes, I see some lefties, they're screaming or crying, but it's nothing like it was in 2020, nothing like it was in 2016. And that's when I actually remembered, but it's Minutes of Horror who posted, warning, is it too calm in America? So people are picking up this kind of calmness. The Democrats who are coming out and saying, congratulating Trump, and we will have a peaceful transition, and we'll see if that actually takes place. But it's kind of, all right, is this going to last? Do you remember when?
Do you guys know what this represents? Tell us, sir. I don't know, maybe it's the calm before the storm. What's the storm? Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
What's he talking about? The White House insisting President Trump never tips his hand.
We're never going to say in advance what the president's going to do.
It's unclear whether the president was just toying around, deflecting from the political storm engulfing his administration, or previewing some new action.
Donald Trump would make these remarks 7 years ago, and yet today, a lot of people feel like we are currently in the calm, this very eerie calmness before the storm. You can even see some of the comments on this video, which was uploaded 7 years ago. Somebody 3 weeks ago said the storm is here again. A person replying to this comment says, it's about to hit America hard these upcoming weeks.
Okay, so I'm going to post the link to the video, and you can listen to Minutes of Horror. And anything could happen. You also just try to think of even the most outlandish thought that you can have, putting together a scenario. If you were an evil psychopath, it's, I think, very hard for people to get into the shoes of people like that. But I do think about every possibility. We know how grossly manipulated we are. We know how deceptive both parties are. We know that both parties could give a shit about us. We know that both parties, that they actually have given us evidence that they work together, right? And they put on these little skits for the American people, coming out, attacking, Democrats attacking Republicans, Republicans attacking Democrats. So what if all of this was planned? All of it. Trump not being put in office, Biden instead, letting the American people see all of the evidence of the corruption, of fraud that took place for the 2020 election. Trump doesn't get in. January 6th takes place. We've got political dissidents in jail. Freedom. USA, USA, USA. But what if both parties are aligned with everything that is taking place? Then Trump comes back on the stage, and with all of the talk about him being a dictator and this country turning into a fascist country, and well, oh my God, what people are saying, it's like, are you flipping kidding me? But we're so used to lies. Listen to this. I mean, oh boy. Now, I'm not saying that Trump doesn't have a dictator in him, cares whether this country is fascist or free. But when you look at what the Democrats have done, and then what they say about Trump, it's really, well, we know narcissists love to project out, their worst qualities and characteristics onto others, and they project out what they do onto others. But what if they're both parties working in cahoots to literally make it seem like Trump, when he comes into office, then we have another January 6th, which is possible, and all hell breaks loose. And then it's actually Trump that declares martial law, and then everybody says, see, he's the dictator. We don't know. What I do suggest is that you watch very closely what he does. You watch very closely, even before, as president-elect, what he does. And we also understand that whatever party, you vote for or align yourself with, they throw out crumbs. Trump's term was crumbs. A whole lot of people believe that the economy was just so fabulous during Trump. No, it wasn't. It was for a few people. It sure was for the very, very wealthy. It sure was for Wall Street. but a whole lot of people, the economic struggles have been going on regardless of what party is in control. Okay, so they throw out some crumbs and everybody goes, see, Trump is just fabulous. You have to remember, Operation Warp Speed, that guy killed an awful lot of people. You can't just claim that other people were killing people by that new product, right? Because they were encouraging people to get that new product, but not Trump, who encouraged people to get that new product and has never said anything about what that new product actually did. Okay. So I do think that a lot of people just want to believe. And I understand it. My God. You want hope, you want to believe that, your life is going to turn around. And I bet a lot of Trumpers, if their life turns around, they'll be A-okay with that, satisfied, and not care about all of the other people who are being destroyed. So, but listen to what this one, we've got crazy people, You got Elon Musk, which there's so much evidence that he is not on board with your freedom, with your free speech. And there's an awful lot of people on X or Twitter that are having their accounts deleted. There's so much shadow banning. So why do people think that he's like, the God of freedom and he's given it back to us? Because they've got the freedom on Twitter and others don't. So we've got to get out of our own experience. If things turn around for you and you're, given some crumbs and you're feeling the noose has been, loosened on your neck, and, you can go to fill up your car and it's going to be less. Maybe the bread that you buy is going to be a little bit less. And that's okay with you. Don't think everybody is experiencing that. Just like during the 4 years of Trump. Oh boy, he's magnificent in talking about how great he is and how he turned the economy around in 6 months. Whoa, okay. And it was the best economy that we had in like 50 years. Biden comes into office and says the exact same thing. Weird. But it wasn't. And he was lying. So, but this is setting people up on the left to fear Trump coming into power again, setting people up to fight the other team. But what she's saying is what the Democrats have done. They've already done it. But a whole lot of Democrats hear her and just believe what she's saying. Could there be Americans out there that are terrified that fascism is going to come in the second Trump is back in office? When the Democrats have shown how fascist they are? Wow. It's okay. So with all of the show that is going on, we all have to really step out of the matrix and just try to be as objective as you can, viewing everything and trying to figure out the puzzle, because we're thrown the pieces, but all we can do is speculate. As far as I'm concerned, the ride we're on is going to continue being destruction.
We are about to enter a political period that will have consequences for the rest of our lives. We cannot give up. We now find ourselves in a time in history that has precedent, and we find ourselves, I believe, in a time where there are, let's say, peers in history of mass movements of people that mobilize to protect one another in times of fascism and authoritarianism. And this is the era that we are poised to enter. Donald Trump has talked about turning the military on U.S. citizens that he.
Now, I've never heard Donald Trump talking about turning, and I'm not okay, get this. I don't care how much somebody lies and lies and lies and lies and says outrageous things, but when they don't, I will absolutely stand in defense of that incident where they're being accused of something. Has anybody heard Donald Trump claiming that he's going to turn the military against the American people? Or was that during the riots when he was, it was the governor of, was it Minnesota, where he was talking about sending in the National Guard? When there are riots? Okay, that's very, if that's what she's referring to, then clean up AOC, because you're leaving those who actually listen to you and believe you, that if you don't bring in the context and talk about the details, then you're lying. It's a lie. And if anybody else has heard Trump say, I'm going to turn the military against the American people, please. But it's interesting because Department of Defense just put out its authorization to use lethal force against Americans. And that was, about a month ago, Biden administration, Democrats.
He deems his domestic political enemies.
Okay. Have we not watched 4 years of the Democrats going after Trump? We've got political dissidents in jail, January 6th, okay? And these Democrats will never take responsibility for any of that, but they continue to say that Trump is going to do all of that, right? So I really do have to wonder if we're really watching a show that is just kind of smoothly running through all of their terms, of in the White House, especially for the president, 4 years. It's all very smooth. The policies hardly ever change. In fact, they don't. They remain the same. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But she goes on. She's, oh my God.
Authoritarians and people that he affiliates closely with and strongmen abroad in regimes like that, it is not uncommon to jail political dissidents.
What? The Democrats have done that. The Democrats have done it already. They're the authoritarians for now, right? So it's so stupid. It's so easy to kind of see through all of the projection, the narcissism, the psychopathy, and to at least get some clarity that, okay, there's a whole lot of crap going on. There's a whole lot of deception. There's a whole lot of gaslighting and lies, and from both sides. Maybe I should just pull myself out of all of it and just spend some time. You're outside that matrix, outside the bubble. Spend some time watching it all. Just watch it all on both sides as objectively as you can. If you did that, I can't imagine that you would want to re-enter, but what really has come about is that this country is just a shit show. Meaningless. It's become crap. It's become nothing. You can't get anyone who's real, genuine, and of moral character. We have the worst of the worst, but it's been a progression to get here. And boy, do we need, somehow to get out of it. We need some dignity back and integrity. But yes, Trump too has shown and said an awful lot that, well, I don't know why the awake are so yay, but they are. Red flag laws, yay. Take away the guns, due process later. There's a whole lot. There's a whole list. So, oh boy. I would recommend that we all pay very close attention to not so much that you just get sick to your stomach, but what the so-called, well, the puppets of the powers that be, what they're saying, what they're doing, it might give you a good indication of where we're going. Anyway, I got carried away. I apologize. But yeah, we just get fed trash every day. Don't you want something better? I do. I really do. So, on that note, thank you for showing up. I do hope to see you tomorrow night. Live honestly, speak honestly. That's the only way that we could ever manifest anything different. Yeah, we're part of this shit show. So we've got to clean up our own shit and just try to be better people and help those in need in your community and in this community. Yeah. All right. Stay safe. See you tomorrow. Ciao.